Hello and welcome to another episode of Laptop Retrospective, and today I have another laptop stand, this one coming from a company called Benks, and they do all sorts of stands and accessories, definitely more toward an Apple flair. However, a laptop stand is a laptop stand, and I think that there is room for improvement in this area of the market, so I was curious when they contacted me to see what was kind of their premium offering. So just to be clear, Benks has provided this stand to me for the purposes of this review. I did not personally purchase this, however my reviews and my opinions remain my own. This is called their Infinity Max stand, so let's go ahead and get it out of the box. This is the box that we have. Again, you can clearly tell that they're going after the Apple market share. And then on the back we see some pictures and there's no information printed on the outside of it, which just means that I get to tell you all about it. All right, so we remove the slip case and then we can open it up. We have a manual, which, I mean, I'm kind of hoping won't be necessary. And then we have the stand itself. What we have here is the stand itself, and here are some of the features that this thing supports. So as you can probably tell by listening, it supports 360-degree rotation, and that clicking, you're either going to love or hate. I think that's one of the moments in this video where you're going to know whether or not this product is for you. The one thing I will say is that the mechanism does work with the base in place. I'm not really worried about accidentally rotating the whole stand or tipping it over. So that's good that the 360 works. So we do have adjustable height in the sense that this thing can be moved like so. One thing I will point out is that there is no option to extend, so you'll never get more than a certain height. And it is very stiff, which is good because that means it should be able to hold heavier laptops. When I asked Benks about this, I was told it could hold up to 5 kilograms. Now, the other thing that you'll note is that it does have a whole bunch of holes drilled through the base plate here, which should help with heat dissipation if you have intake coming in through the bottom of the laptop, as many do. The other nice thing is that this shelf here is adjustable. There's several different thicknesses that you can set it to, which I'm very, very pleased about, because on other setups that I have reviewed on the channel, they put the shelf on either side where you put your hands. So at the very least, this should be considerably less intrusive when you have a device sitting on it, if the shelf is even necessary. So let's see what kind of laptops we can comfortably put on this device. And we are going to start with some heavy guys. We'll extend this fellow here up front and put our P50 on it. And it holds the P50. Comfortably, I would say. I don't feel like that's going to go anywhere. Now, the P50 has a bit of a chamfered edge, which I can show you here, which means that the contact that it's making is pretty minimal on that shelf. So that is something to keep in mind if your laptop does have a chamfered edge, that the height that this piece at the bottom extends could potentially mean that some thicker devices like this might slide off if you're not too careful. Like if I'm turning this stand using the laptop itself, I can definitely see that it could fall off. But if I'm using the stand to turn the laptop, that pretty much reduces the risk to a very acceptable minimum. So that's good to see that it can hold a big boy like a workstation. Switching over to something thinner, like an X1 Carbon, this is actually practically flush with the top of the trackpad, which should make for a pretty reasonable experience. And one thing I actually like about this stand is that I can pretty much put the full weight of my wrists on the keyboard and actually type with this in place. I couldn't do that with some of the other ones. So in that regard, I do believe that this has been pretty successful in that. And because it is got a chamfer that's a bit more in line with the bottom lip here, there's going to be considerably better coverage. So I would say that this is quite a decent product. But let's talk about price. So this Benks Infinity Max stand is a rather costly stand. Like, it's on the higher end of stands. It's $99 US, or about $134.99 Canadian. So definitely paying a premium price. And I would say just a couple things about that. One is that it is rather aesthetically unobtrusive. Like, this thing will look nice on a cluttered desk or on uncluttered space. There's nothing about it that's overly offensive or super business looking. It can blend into a lot of different environments, and that is good. The other thing is that you'll know right away by listening to this if you think that would bother you or be inappropriate in the space that you would intend to use this. And what I mean by that is that I could very easily see this being in some nicer clientele's area, and this be maybe annoying if you're constantly adjusting it. Maybe you like that clicking sound and it doesn't bother you, but I think that it is going to be something that's polarizing. If there was a way to suppress that sound, I think it would probably generally be preferred if possible. So that would be the one piece of feedback that I would give. It's nice to see that they've put some thought into this, in the sense that, you know, cooling is going to be a little easier with all of these holes. You don't need to worry about that. The fact that this shelf is adjustable, you can see the little dimples right in the middle here, and it's over where the trackpad would be versus sticking into where you would rest your hands, as I mentioned earlier. And the fact that this thing is robust enough that it can support a P50 workstation, and you can actually rest your hands and do work on this with everything pretty much staying in place to a very respectable degree. So, do I think it's worth it? I think that entirely depends on what you want a stand to do. If you are okay with the clicking sound, if you're okay with the aesthetics, and you're planning on actually using the laptop in an elevated state and actively working on it, then I think that this will potentially tick the boxes for you and be a good choice. Are there going to be less expensive stands out there? Most certainly. However, I can definitely see this meeting a lot of people's needs. So therefore, I can't really say that it's objectively overpriced, because I think that it does everything that it sets out to do, and because of that, it works. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed our kind of quick romp through the Benks Infinity Max stand. If you do have questions, make sure you're leaving them in the comment section down below, and I'll do my best to answer them. And if you want to help support the channel and spread the word and all that good stuff, make sure you're clicking all of the things that are being suggested down here in that little triangle. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.